Good day, everyone. We are the group two, and we will discuss to you about the local civil wedding ceremony. So let's meet first my group mates. So yours truly, my name is Jovetange Alvarez. With me is Mr. Royce Brando Antonio, Miss Nika Maayo, Miss Faye Cuevas, and Miss Nicole Kawili. So on my part, I will give you an overview of what a local civil wedding ceremony is and why we have chosen this kind of ceremony as a group to feature. So local civil weddings are weddings that are officiated by authorized persons such as a judge, a mayor, or any person authorized by the government. These kinds of wedding usually fulfill the legal requirements of a wedding and can be arranged without any elaborate ceremonies associated with the traditional weddings. So why we have chosen this kind of wedding? First, it's because um this kind of wedding is the most easiest type of wedding ceremony. Second, it is the most budget-friendly ceremony. And third, it is mostly more on the legalistic side rather than the traditionalistic side. And this will be further discussed by my group leads. So before that, let me show to you an example of a local civil wedding we have found on YouTube. And let's all sit back and watch this. So let us all watch this wedding.
So the ceremony started off with a roll call of the sponsors to make sure everyone is present.
Miss Rowena Dalisay, Mr. Marlon Dalisay, Mrs. Feli Galamay, Benjamin Fabian.
And then the opening prayer led by the mayor.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Umupo po tayo, pero kay Emilio at Trixie.
So after the prayer, the mayor immediately congratulated them in a 20-minute speech plus a lecture about marriage and married life.
Ang pinasok niyong relasyon ay isang relasyon na no retreat, no surrender. Kasusuko. Huwag kayo susuko. Paano pagsubok? Nasa inyong mga kamay, may asawa. Ha? Yung pagbibigay importansya sa taong kanyang minamahal. Kasi minsan, iniisip natin ko, asawa ko yan, maintindihan ako yan, mali. Dapat lang, magkaraman niya.
Then, the ceremony starts.
Okay ng kamay, tanggalin yung face mask niya. Please, hawakan kayo ng kamay. Emilio at Trixie, kayo ba'y nangangakot, sumusumpa na anumang problema, anumang pagsubok na natin sa inyong mga buhay, ay hindi nyo iiwanan ng isa't isa sa inyo? Emilio, nangangakot. Trixie? Okay. Sa harapan namin mga magulang, mga ninong at ninang, mga bisita, gusto namin marinig ang inyong mga sumpaan sa isa't isa. Emilio, anong pwede mong sabihin, ipangako, kay Trixie habang naririnig ng mga piyanan mo yun?
Yung sa akin lang po, simula nung nagkagalala kami ng sana
para sa akin naman po, samahan po sa akin mamahalin na alagaan. Walang nakamatay.
Kanya pawata. Kaya sa dulo ng walang hanggan. Okay. Suot mo sing-sing na to.
Sing-sing na to.
Bilang tanda na aking katapatan.
Bilang ganda ng aking
At
katapatan.
walang hanggang pagmamahal sa'yo.
At walang hanggang pagmamahal.
Nangangako,
At nangangako,
mamahalin kita habang buhay.
mamahalin kita.
Suot mo na. Emilio.
Video.
Okay. Yung sa mga santarang sinisigawan mo. Emilio. Konting lang eh. Ano na, paano lang din mo? Okay, Emilio. Suot mo sing-sing na to.
So, kung sinimay ko,
Bilang tanda na aking katapatan.
bilang tanda na aking katapatan,
At walang hanggang pagmamahal sa'yo.
ko lang ang sa mga
At nangangako, mamahalin kita habang buhay.
Mamahalin kita habang buhay.
Ay, layuin mo na. Layo mo na. Yan. Ganun to. Okay, patong mo. Patong mo. Okay, yan. Trixie. Tanggapin mo ang aras na to.
Tanggapin mo ang aras na
Bilang tanda natin pagsusumikap.
bilang tanda ng aking
Para
pagsusunod
mabigyang lipat.
para mabilis
Sa magandang kinabukasan.
magandang kinabukasan.
Lalo na
Lalo na
ang ating magiging mga anak.
ang ating magiging mga anak.
Tinatanggap ko yung ilyo
Tinatanggap ko yung
at nangangako na ano man ang ibibigay
ano bang ibibigay.
ay aking pagyayamanin alang-alang sa ikaganda ng pinabukasan ng pamilya natin. Okay. Okay, pera. Pagkanahin ng fight. Si Emilio Bergel Duquita sa Adriano at si Trixie May Convocar Arsiaga ay ganap na po mag-asawa. Palakpakan po natin. Emilio Bergel. Pwede mo nang halikan si Trixie.
So this is the kind of local civil weddings that are usually done, and the officiant here or the solemnizing officer is the mayor. So this will be further discussed by my other groupmates, and that would be all for my part. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, my name is Royce Brando Antonio, and I will discussing the overview of the background and significance of the customs, practices, rituals, and symbols in local civil weddings. So first, we have the background. Civil weddings in the Philippines are officiated by a government representative, such as a mayor or a judge rather than a religious figure, such as stated in the Article 7, Paragraph 2 of the Family Code. So, this option is particularly important in a country where diverse religious beliefs coexist. So, civil marriages cater to couples who may not belong to a specific religion or to those who prefer secular ceremonies or individuals who wish to avoid the formalities of religious rites. Okay, so we have the secular venue under the customs and practices. So civil weddings are often held in local government offices, such as the city hall or in other public spaces. Some couples choose to have their civil wedding in a more personalized setting, like a garden or a beach. Okay, so next one is the simple ceremony. So the ceremony tends to be straightforward, focusing on the legal aspects of the union rather than elaborate rituals. However, couples may personalize their ceremonies with vows, readings, or music. Okay, so next one is the witnesses. So witnesses is like in the traditional weddings. Civil weddings require witnesses as well. Typically, two witnesses sign the marriage certificate, which underscores the importance of community and support. So again, witnesses is a formal requisite as per Article 3 of the Family Code. Okay, so next one is the exchange of rings. Much like in religious weddings, um, civil weddings or the exchange of wedding rings symbolizes the couple's commitment and love. So the circular shape of the ring represents eternity. Then next one, we have the unity candle or sand ceremony. Some couples incorporate rituals such as lighting a unity candle or a sand ceremony, symbolizing the merging of two lives into one. So these rituals, although not traditional in a civil weddings, but it reflects personal beliefs and values. Okay, and then we have the last one is the personalized written vows. So many couples choose to write their own vows, adding deeply personal touch to the ceremony. So that's all for our rituals and symbols. And now we have the significance. So significance, we have the legal recognition, wherein it is the primary for a civil wedding. It is the legal recognition. It provides, it formalizes the union, granting couples legal rights and responsibilities under the Philippine law. And then for the second one, it is the inclusivity. So civil weddings promote inclusivity, allowing individuals from various backgrounds, beliefs, and practices to celebrate their love without the constraints of religious doctrine. So third one is the cultural reflection. So by incorporating local customs and personal elements, civil weddings reflect the rich tapestry of Filipino culture. Each couple can tailor their ceremony to express their identity, values, and heritage. And the last one for the significance is the empowerment. So civil weddings empower couples to define their relationship on their own terms so they can prioritize what is meaningful to them, whether it be the simplicity of the ceremony or the inclusion of specific cultural practices. So that is all for the significance. So again, civil weddings in the Philippines represent a blend of legal recognition and personal expression. They allow couples to celebrate their union in a way that aligns with their beliefs and circumstances, while also reflecting the diverse cultural landscape of the country. And that's all for of my part. Thank you for listening. And now for the next presenter.
Requirements set forth in the family code. So the question is, are there deviations from the law? So the family code establishes two categories of requisites for a valid marriage. First, we have essential requisites, which is under the Article 2 of the family code. So it includes the legal capacity of the contracting parties, and of course, we have the mutual consent freely given in the presence of the solemnizing officer. And then, of course, we have another one, the formal requisites, which is under the Article 3. And this includes the authority of the solemnizing officer, the valid marriage license, the marriage ceremony, or the exchange of vows and personal declaration. And of course, we have the presence of at least two witnesses. And we have here the comparison of civil weddings and family code requirements. So for the aspect, so first we have the legal capacity and of course the family code requirement. Both parties must be of legal age, which is the 18 years old, and of course they are legally free to marry. And of course, for the civil wedding practice, we have the officiating officer verifies that both parties meet the age and marital status requirements. And for the deviations, we have none because the civil weddings comply with the age and the legal capacity requirement. So another aspect we have the consent. We have the family code requirement. So the consent must be freely given in the presence of the officiating officer. And of course, for the civil wedding practice, so during the civil ceremony, both parties express consent before the officiant. And for the deviations, of course, we have also no deviations because force or coerced consent could render the marriage voidable. And of course, another aspect we have the authority of the officiant. So For the family code requirement, the officiant must be legally authorized to solemnize marriages. So it's either the judge, the mayor, or etc. So they must be the legally authorized to solemnize marriages. And of course, for the civil wedding practice, we have typically conducted by an authorized public official. Of course, also the judge or the mayor. And for the deviations, so marriages officiated by unauthorized persons are void under Article 35. And then another aspect, we have also marriage license. So for the family code requirement, we have a valid marriage license must be obtained unless exempted by the law. So for example, we have the cohabitation of 5 years. And for the civil wedding practice, the license is usually obtained before the wedding and presented to the officiant. And for the deviations, so failure to secure a valid license without qualifying for an exemption leads to avoid marriage. And also, we have also another aspect, which is the marriage ceremony or the public. For the family code requirement, we have a public ceremony with the personal appearance of both parties, exchange of vows, and declaration. And of course, for the civil wedding practice, couples appear before the officiant and exchange vows in a simplified civil ceremony. And for the deviation, we have also no deviation for this aspect, which is the marriage ceremony. So as long as the exchange of vows is conducted, so the ceremony meets the formal requisite. And then the last one, also we have another aspect, which is the witnesses. So for the family code requirement, we have at least two witnesses of legal age must be present. And for the civil wedding practice, so witnesses are typically close relatives or friends. And for the deviations, so we have lack of witnesses could make the marriage voidable. So for the witnesses aspect, so we have this deviation which is for when there is the lack of the witnesses, so of course the marriage is voidable or void. So for the local civil wedding, so we have in the Philippines, so of course local civil weddings.
Okay, good evening po. My name is Faye Angela Cuevas, and I'm here to tackle the topic on the analyzation of the standard marital vows and how it relates to the marital rights and obligations in the family code. And does it deviate or are there any deviations from the said law? So, as we've observed or as we have come to know, using the sample video that we have got from a YouTube user named Ubokti. By the way, credits to them uploading a sample video on their friend's local civil wedding in the province. So, based on the video that they've posted and that me and my group mates have watched, I can say that there have been no deviations from the standard marital vows and obligations stated in the family code, aside from the mayor, who's the solemnizing officer in the said local civil wedding. Um, let's just say his only deviation was how he have presented or how he has stated the said marital vows and obligations in the said local civil wedding. So he did not exactly deviate from them, but more or less he said or stated the marital vows and obligations in a way that would be easier for the locals and relatives who are attending and witnessing the wedding to be able to better understand it. So he said it in a way that was casual, but not overly casual. And he tried to keep a light and joyful atmosphere for the civil wedding. So, as you will be seeing, I will be playing a short clip or excerpt from this said video that we in my group have chosen for our topic. So that way we will get a better understanding on how there has been a little deviation in the way, only in the way that how these marital vows and obligations were expressed in the local civil wedding. Okay, so here is the video that I will now be playing for us to be able to see how these certain little deviations have been done in the local civil wedding that we've chosen.
Emilio at Trixie.
So after the prayer, the mayor immediately congratulated them in a 20-minute speech plus a lecture about marriage and married life.
Ang pinasok niyong relasyon ay isang relasyon na no retreat, no surrender. Kasusuko. Kayo susuko. Paano yung pagsuko? Nasa inyong mga kamay, may asawa. Ha? Yung pagbibigay importansya sa taong kanyang minamahal. Kasi minsan, inisip natin, asawa ko yan, nahitindihan ako yan, dali. Dapat lang, magkaraman niya.
Then, the ceremony starts.
O, anong kamay? Tagal niyo face mask niya? Please, hawakan kayo ng kamay. Emilio at Trixie, kayo ba'y nangangakot, sumusumpa na anumang problema, anumang pagsubok na natin sa inyong mga buhay, ay hindi niyo iiwanan ng isa't isa sa inyo? Emilio, nangangakot. Trixie? Okay. Sa harapan namin mga magulang, mga ninong at ninang, mga bisita, gusto namin marinig ang inyong mga sumpaan sa isa't isa. Emilio, anong pwede mong sabihin, ipangako, kay Trixie habang naririnig ng mga piyanan mo yun?
Yung sa akin lang po, simula nung nagkagalala kami ng sa
Para sa akin naman po, samahan po sa akin. Mamahalin na alagaan. Walang mamamahalin.
Hanggang pabata ka. Hanggang sa dulo na wala hanggan. Okay. Sut mo sing-sing na to. Bilang tanda na aking katapatan.
Bilang tanda na natin
At walang hanggang pagmamahal sa'yo. Nangangako, mamahalin kita habang buhay.
mamahalin kita.
Sutra. Video.
Video.
Shit. Dito ko sa tapos sinisigawan mo. Video. Konting lang eh. Ano paano lang mo? Okay, video. Ito po sing-sing na to.
So, kung hindi mo,
Bilang tanda na aking katapatan
bilang tanda na aking nakapagan,
at walang hanggang pagmamahal sa'yo.
wala kang lang sa mga
At nangangako, mamahalin kita habang buhay.
mamahalin kita habang buhay.
Okay. Layuin mo na. Layo mo na. Yan. Yun na to. Okay. Okay, patong mo. Patong mo. Okay, Yan. Trixie, tanggapin mo ang aras na to.
Tanggapin mo ang alas na
Bilang tanda natin pagsusumikap.
bilang tanda ng aking
Para
pagsusunod
mabigyan kita.
para mabigyan
Sa
kita
magandang kinabukasan.
magandang kinabukasan,
Lalo na
lalo na
ang ating magiging mga anak.
ang ating magiging mga
Natanggap ko yung
So that will be all that I will be playing as a short excerpt and clip for the local civil wedding as the topic for our group. And to show you just how, just to show people that there has been some slight deviation when it comes to the vows performed and expressed in the wedding ceremony. So as we could see, it is a very light and not so casual because you all know the let's say not exactly heavy, but the importance of such marital obligations that's being expressed in the local civil wedding that we have just watched. So, yeah, the mayor or solemnizing officer in the ceremony tried to keep a light and easygoing manner of conducting the local civil wedding. And in his mannerisms and in the way he spoke of the marital obligations to be fulfilled by both the bride and the groom, we could see that it is not as serious or solemn as though when compared to how they are usually said or expressed by a solemnizing officer inside of a church like the Iglesia ni Cristo or in the Church of the Catholics. So that would be all for my part.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, classmates, and good afternoon, Attorney Ida. For today, I will be discussing some reactions and comments on local civil wedding. Why couples would choose local civil wedding? So, the very first question being asked here is that whether, no, are the present generation afraid of getting married? No, especially that there is a downfall in terms of the statistics of people and couple who wanted to get married. So here are some of the factors and reasons why couples would choose civil wedding over church wedding and the question of whether to get married or not. So the following reasons are what you can see on your screens right now. The very first reason that they have is number one, they want their relationship to be recognized by law. No, if they want to have their relationship be recognized by law, they would really do their best, no, to have this kind of wedding among themselves, no. So usually, if people wanted to legalize their marriage in a sense that they want to be liable with each other in terms of properties, in terms of liabilities, in terms of answering to each other, no. Gusto lang nila na makilala yung relationship nila. That's why they wanted to get married. The very common reason that people would choose to get married in a civil wedding is because of practical reasons. Ito yung pinaka-top reason and common reasons na naririnig ko sa mga friends, no, who wanted to choose civil wedding over church wedding. They would choose civil wedding for a more personalized and flexible approach in a sense na mas personalized yung touch. They are not tied with what the church dictates on what a wedding should be, or they are not tied in what a religious sect dictates what or how a wedding should be, but rather it is depending on the couple, no. The wedding is a more personalized approach in terms of their ceremony. Next reason, for practical reason, is definitely the expenses. It is really quite cheaper to have a civil wedding compared to a church wedding. Especially that in the Philippines, the bigger the church is, the more expensive to have that wedding in there. No, so couples would even have the kasalang bayan, no, just to save money, just to officialize and legalize their relationship because again, it is quite expensive to have that marriage in the Philippines. Another thing is that thinking na hindi naman sana ito yung goal ng couple, but thinking about the expense of annulment in the Philippines, no, it is minimum of I think 200,000 po, no, around 200,000 as the minimum amount, and the length of legal process in the Philippines, hindi siya practical, no? So, people would choose to have civil wedding compared to church wedding because in a church wedding, you would have two kinds of separation or nullity of marriage. You have the church annulment and then you also have the civil annulment. Compared with civil wedding, it's just the declaration of nullity of marriage and that's it, no. So it's practical for the couples, no. Some would say that it is because they have not prepared yet for their savings and they haven't it's not yet on top of their priority. That's why they don't opt yet to get married. And some would say that it is the equalizer, no? Especially if one of the couple is a believer and the other couple is non-believer, no. So everyone is equal in the eyes of the law. That's why they would choose to have the civil wedding. Some would say that it is because of the Filipino culture. I'm not sure if you're able to see, but it because of the Filipino culture, it is more intimate compared to a church, which is a grandiose kind of wedding. And then there could be limited number of ninongs and ninangs to be chosen in the wedding. and that not everyone has a say in the preparation of the event, and there is less pressure in terms of women giving birth. And to address the childhood trauma, no, in church weddings, they would also choose, no, to have their civil wedding. But again, there are also some people who opted not to get married as well. Some reasons would include finding true love and happiness, the companionship, and the goal to build a family. Some would say na I am a strong independent person, so I don't need to get married. Some would even base it, no, getting married is based on the success and failure of their relationships in the past and in the present. Some would say that it would depend in the readiness of a person, no, including kaya nga meron mga trial period, and couples would even choose cohabiting or based on the situation of their relationship. Some would even say that they are not the marrying type of person, and others would consider health, mental health issues. No, so with that all said, no, with all those reasons and comments and usual opinions of whether to get married or not, it would always be an issue, or it would always be a question of whether or not should you get married. No, yan ang tinatanong eh. So, given na yan pala yung common opinion, yun yung common reaction in terms of getting a civil marriage, no, should you still get married? So, my answer to that question is be you, do you, and for you. No, it's not a yes nor a no, because at the end of the day, it's be you, be who you are. Okay, be who you are. Decide for your own happiness. Decide for yourself. Okay. Again, the essential requirements of marriage is consent and your legal capacity to get married. If you are unsure whether to enter marriage or not, no, it will still be up to you at the end of the day. As we have mentioned earlier, there are couples or there are people who are not the marrying type. And there are people who said na, let's give it another chance, no? So, at the end of the day, it will still be up to you. It will still be your choice. It will still be your own happiness, no? Whether marriage is for you or not. So, my advice for you is simply follow your heart, do what's best for you, no, and I hope that I will I was able to give you a more deciding factor, no, and give you a reaction properly on whether or not to get married or not. So that ends my presentation for today. I hope you learned something. My name is Nicole Gauli, and that is my presentation for today. Good afternoon, everyone, and have a good morning.